Okay, so let's start with our class. I'm going to try OBS for the second time. Um, Hopefully nga it will be able to record today's session. Was it able to record properly the last one, no? Katong sa OM? Because 10 minutes na day ang body cam. No, I'm going to look for another na pud nga recorder. It's so difficult kay we don't have a recording feature anymore in Google Meet. No? So it made my life a bit struggle on the part of the recording. No? Since, of course, we did rely on this from the past year pa. Maybe I'll go back to Filmora again, no? Okay. Let me just share my screen. We are now going to proceed to the last part of chapter 1, which is age diversity. This is also part of your exam on Friday. So, na ang mga baby boomers, traditionalists, millennials. Again, ha, you are not millennials, ha. Millennials are for people like Service po. Even I am not a part of millennial, no? Kaya we are very close in age, no? Some of you are 22, 21, I think, no? And I'm 25, so I still belong to the bracket of Generation Z, just like you. Siguro mag-start sa ako, nga generation 1997 or 1996. I think, I don't know, ang 1996 is still part of millennials, and then dire magsugod sa ako nga year 1997 until sa inyo ha nga generation, no, even sa ako ang younger brothers, no, nga naa nas mga 2000s gipanganak. Okay, we're done with this. Actually, nagtagbo ko og discuss last time ani, no, wala day mo kakita ani. Ako na lang ni upload ang activity after the finals exam. I presented this one last Monday, but wala din naka-share screen. Please wait lang siya for a while. Testingan na siya nako kung makalahutay until kuan. Makalahutay ni siya until an hour or 40 minutes, no, kay kahapon sus 13 minutes ra taas kay ko gipang discuss, 13 minutes ra nakuha. Okay. Kita rin ninyo ang presentation, everyone.
Yes, da, makita na da.
Yes, Dam. Tara, Dam.
Okay, very good. So we are now going to proceed to the last part of chapter 1 class, which is culture of various age groups. No, last Monday it was more on socioeconomic status, and also no nag-recap rata a bit on global, what do you call this? Mga global culture or regional culture, and then also sa corporate culture. Kindly study that one ha, tanan nga naa diri sa slide sa first chapter mo ay mo sulod sa exam. Okay. So baka mo iro. So when we talk about diversity of various age groups class, it is or diversity no, in age, it is the acceptance of all age groups in the workforce. So we don't discriminate, no, even if this person is kanang 60 na, magisobang nasod class no nga they really don't discriminate. They have old workers there. Or for example, it doesn't only apply to old people. I think for example, if you're just like 20, fresh out of college, or 19, no, um, you will not be discriminated in the workplace if open to age diversity, no, ang inyong corporate culture, no, healthy inyong working environment. So age diversity offers positive advantages for healthy organizations. Although naaman jud na yung mga times nga dili jud magkasinabot class, no, kay maabot jud na sa punto jud class nga sometimes in older generations they would really feel superior kay sila ang mas dugay-dugay na sa corporation, or they had the most experience, and they don't really welcome young bloods, no, or fresh people. We call them like fresh, no, fresh blood, kay kuan man siya kanang bag-o pa, 'di ba? Like mao pa jud pag gawas gi kag college, no, no experience whatsoever. So I don't really acknowledge that because no, they feel nga, of course, no, sila ang kuan, you don't really understand the nature of like people in the generation Z, because you know we're very outgoing. We have like um a very wide creativity, no. I remember when we had our training, not just during katong CGSP, no, but even katong face to face, like when we have presentations, usually kami yung mga batano nang magkuan nga mag-pitch in og ideas, so ana ba, no. And sometimes old people don't like that, no, but I do not want to generalize because I have also encountered a lot of people from traditionalist or baby boomer nga generation nga very welcoming. So depende rin na sa tao actually, class, no. We don't want to stereotype everyone na basta boomer ing ana jud na or traditionalist, no, but there are also people, especially if they are very open minded, they can be very welcoming into different in different age groups, no. So it's really important that you also establish this kind of environment sa inyong trabahoan nga you don't discriminate regardless if this person is old or from the traditionalist generation, baby boomer ba siya, or what do you call this, generation Z or millennial. As long as this person is competent, very capable, um team player siya, no, can really contribute to the company, to the organization, then that's okay, 'di ba? So it can offer a positive advantage. Kaya nga naman, there are many desirable features ang each generation class that can contribute to the work, no? Although, no, naiwan mga traditionalist nga very what do you call this, to kanang dili sila gusto og unconventional choices and risk, sometimes very judgmental kay sila kay, they're still inclined to this traditional values, but there are also desirable parts in their generation nga pwede magamit sa trabahoan, like take for example, no, their like their dedication to work, or kuan sila, no, um they do the process like patiently, no. Sa mga batanon po, no, daghan po kay advantage po, no, although sometimes, no, we can be stereotyped as sometimes irresponsible or carefree, or sometimes gani ka ng very sloppy ta when we do our work because pas jud ato, no, we're very energetic and all, but we also have positive contributions po, no. So actually nindot na siya, class, mas preferable actually nga ang imuhang workplace is a combination of both from different generations. Pero mas maayo jud, no, nga napoy mga batanon nga mas kuan jud sila, mas daghan jud, labi na karon, class, nga technology na ta, ang technology na ta. Our dependency is more on technology. It's really ano, much highly appreciated if kalabanan sa mga tao are, in the younger generation. Okay pud nga na ay mga kuan naa sa old nga generation, pero wala na, ubay-ubay lang jud mga batanon. Okay, treating people fairly regardless of age is central to the principle of ethical business and ethical organizations. Because especially now, no, in the college department, like we used to discuss nga, it would be very difficult for the college department to transition to online. It's because most of our teachers are old, no, and then they have like struggles in using like devices, no, and they have little to no patience when it comes to dealing with technology. Well, part of that is true, but you have people like Ma'am Lapera na karon, no, nga basta with proper reinforcement and proper training ra, no, maningkamot ra jud na sila klase online. Labi na ka nang empower jud mi nga, oy, mo sit in ra ba mi sa yung classes or mga ana ba. So that's an example. um Again, labi na sa karon nga sa digital age, importante nga naatay younger generations nga magman jud, no, sa business or sa organization, but it would not hurt if you have some few people from traditional and baby boomer pod nga generation. So actually di pa ni siya updated, no. um Search na tag mas updated generations in 2022. Okay, para search ta og mas recent mga living generations lang, no, kay pa ng mga patay na nita kakuan. Okay, so we have the 7 living generations. Kung manghud ay kay alpha. Okay, so we have the let me just like zoom in because this is Zoom in ta lang ha para kita mo tanan. Okay. So there are 7 generations. No, we have the greatest generation, which was born in 1901 to 1927. The silent generation, born on 1928 to 1945. The baby boomers, no, like our lolos and lolas, who are born in 1946 to 1964. Generation X, which dinini mo sa brackets itong mga parents, no, born in 1965 to 1980. Millennials, or the Generation Y, are born in 1981 to 1995. So, di na masod sila ni service po, no? People in their 40s or early 30s. Generation Z, so kita, which were born from 1996 to 2010. So, ang pinakalita sana karon is 11 years old ang pinaka-youngest member sa Generation Z. So my youngest brother was born in 2010. He's 11 years old now in grade 5. So sila na ang kutob sa Generation Z. So kaning 1996 so na mga 26 years old, no. 1995 man ko so 25 pa. So 1996 so mga nasa 26 years old to 11 years old sa karon. Ang Generation Alpha, the youngest yun ng mga baby bra warriors kay mga 2011 to 2025 ipanganak. No? So, hangtod sa future pa nga, generation, future pa nga tuig, no? Apil na sa Generation Alpha. Okay? So, kanin yung mga manghod nga 2011, 2012 gipanganak, 2015, Generation Alpha na na sila. Update ko kay karaan ang naadire. Okay. So here are just some of the famous traditionalists. No? You have Andy Warhol, Shirley Temple, John F. Kennedy, Eastwood, Dick Clark, Warren Buffett, sorry, Robert Redford, Neil Armstrong, Dustin Hoffman, Jack Nicholson, Johnny Cash, Marilyn Monroe. Actually, kaabot pa ako papanino per bata pa siya. No? So these are the people that were born from 1925 to 1945. And kuani sila, no? Part sa traditionalist nga generation. Just wait for a while. Naghang ang presentation. Okay. So, traditionalists, no, one of their values is hard work, no, loyalty, personal interaction and relationships, history, disciplined work ethic, structure, and authority. So, of course, it's expected in their generation class, nagdako rin sila sa, wala pa internet, everything must be earned through hard work. There were no technology at that time, no? So, kung ano should, well, there is technology, but what I meant is it's not as advanced as it is now. So everything must be done through hard manual labor. That's why very hardworking ang mga tao ang born in this generation, no, or born as traditionalist. So characteristics, they're very less tech savvy. Seniority is important. Like I don't care if you have like higher educational attainment than me or if you're highly qualified, but since I am older than you, you have to pay respect. Like that kind of example. I have a former student before nga moreklamo dyan na siya because someone in a particular bank asa siya nag-OJT kay ikuan daw, no, dili siya wala siya like janitor siya pero wala siya paki if empleyado ka dito or mas dako pa siya og posisyon sa imuha or OJT ka nga graduating na sa college, wala siya pakya na sa educational attainment kay tungod mas dugay pa siya dira. Like iya jud per mi ikuan nga dugdugay na ko diri, mas dugay pa ko sa mga tao diri. Like maghawd-hawd na siya because he thinks that, you know, since he's been there for so many years, so naa na siya credibility. So for him, seniority is important. No? So that's a basic traditionalist kind of like characteristic no nga. Again, dili na mo matter ang imong kuan. Actually, pasalamat gaani ko class nga they didn't really consider seniority in my job nga no matter how young I am, they acknowledge my hard work kay if traditionalist pa ang akong mga boss siguro no I will not be given any responsibility at all or any credit sa work no so muna no but for traditionalists bahala na they don't really look for the credentials for them as long as I'm older so I have to be like in charge no something like that so supportive of hierarchy they unlike us nga although no we do respect hierarchy or we do respect authority but we tend to challenge it no kay labi na if we see that it's dili siya kuan dili siya justifiable so we tend to question it di ba but for them regardless if questionable kaayo ang decision sa naa sa babaw but they highly respect authority like that's how they are they're very team players they prefer personal communication to technology so they don't like to text or email phone call dyan na sila and very hardworking and loyal to employer like they don't matter dili na mo matter sila ha ang perks and pays as long as they're very loyal and they feel nga they're valued in the company then loyal ra ko sa business sa akong employer nga na sila no lahi sa to ang generation ba nga perks and pays sometimes doesn't pay off anymore if we're not happy in the working environment nga where we are currently mo pahawa jud ta kay unsaon man lang na nga daw kag sweldo but you're miserable like lahi ta og values compared to those who are in the older generations. Let's now proceed to the baby boomers. Baby boomers are all about respect. No, very seniority po kay na sila class nga. Masking naana sila sa sayop class, no, sus ilaha is magmatter jud ang respeto sa ilaha, no. And sometimes we tend to challenge that, no, kitang mga batanon kay you're in the wrong and that means it's not an excuse nga you're old. Just because you're old, it's not an excuse for you to be right na lang masking sayop jud ka, 'di ba? So they're more into self-improvement, very strong work ethic defined by time. Will do what it takes. It is a process, no? Sumodyo na ilaha. They desire flexibility, optimistic and idealistic, struggle with work-life balance, and into symbols and recognition as rewards. Okay, wait lang for a moment, class ha. I just need to answer this important phone call. Pause lang for 5 minutes. Don't go out yet. Okay, so let's continue. So, mo na siya, no, symbols of recognition as rewards, no, ang sa baby boomer, sorry. Nag-pause ko for a while, no. And, kwan sila, no, very workaholic. Although very workaholic ang po ng other younger generations, no, but they are more into, like, work, jud. Sa kadali lang, gadungan-dungan, jud, og ask, like, sa jud. Okay. So, next, sorry, na magsigig pangutana. Sa ako kay meron kay exam sa sa senior high. Ano, sa college and then oral defense sa senior high. Okay. So, let's now proceed to Gen X, no? So, ang Gen X are usually just before, the millennials. Millennials are Generation Y. Okay, so Gen X workers can be counted on in situations where conditions are fluid or not well defined. So they're very flexible people. And then members of this generation have grown up and are comfortable with ever-evolving technology. So at their time na class, kahinahina na og develop ang technology. So that's why, no, they're very comfortable na, although they're not really that quite tech savvy, but they're open to learning technology. And they're also rated highly on their ability to learn quickly and embrace diversity. So they're much more fluid, much more flexible compared to baby boomers and traditionalists, no? And they have been acquainted now with technology, that's why they're quite open-minded as well. They tend to work in situations where conditions are not well defined or are constantly changing. So that's how flexible they are, no? And they're not like ko ano um they're not like parehas sa atua millennials nga. It's comfort and mental health over, perks and pays, diba? So dili ta driven by money sometimes. So we're driven by, is this good for us or is this good for our mental health? Are we happy in what we do? So mo man ato diba? So ilaha is bahalag mag-struggle sila class, they just learn to adapt to it. No, that's how Generation X are. Okay. So Generation Y in the workplace. Let's now proceed to the millennials, no? People like Sir Roy. So 84% profess to be very ambitious. 78 of those who are in the Generation Y are very comfortable with people from different cultures. They're very open-minded. They're not judgmental, and muna, no, they are um, sociable, no, because they're more of a team player class ang Generation Y, ang millennials, and they prefer to have a network of friends at work. Like, we're not just colleagues, like I'm not just working on myself, but I also want to have like friends at the workplace. And it's quite evident too because people in Sir Roy's generation are very friendly. Like I've encountered some of them, not just kay Sir, like na kaedad niya or kabatch niya nga nag-teach og part-time sa college, and they're very friendly, like they really like to connect, no. And ako kay very distant kay ko, pero siguro it's a personal character ramon siguro nako nga mamili ra ko kinsa ako ang kuan kay I'm a very ambivert person, pero no, they're very kuan kay sila um sociable, no. So 86% want their work to make a positive impact on the world. So that's the Gen Y, no. And kana, no, Gen Y can really go very well with the Generation Z. No, kay ang Generation Z is like ning sumpay ra siya sa millennials, no. So millennials are, very creative, they're more into collaborations, no? Um, they're more into, sharing and resources, very flexible as well, very tech savvy, and then kuan nila no, ginahandod sila nga naa sila yung impact, no, not just where they work but even in the world. Okay, so you see that a lot in some of the millennials, no. Even the speakers that we have, which are also part of the millennial generation class, like grabe ang ilahang ko ano, marag effort in order to make like a difference, or for example, to join movements. So may nga na. But not all, ha. I don't want to generalize. Like some of them. So millennials value meaningful and fun work. So they're more into like a healthy environment. No, loyal to people they work and play with. So I'm only loyal if I'm comfortable with you, and I question your authority if I feel that it is unjustifiable. So ana sila. Okay, they want to learn and grow but want rewards now. Like very impatient. No, and you can even see that in Generation Z. Sa tuwa nga kano, we want everything to just be instant because we're used to technology already. That's why we are used to instant as well. Achievement oriented. I don't know guys, there are traits gani as well class nga. I feel nga murag dol-dol pug ko sa millennial because um I'm also achievement oriented. Like I feel nga um which is it's a personal thing, but the more accolades that I have, like the more I am driven, like yung ana ba, no, which is I have to control that kay you've seen naman people like Chesley Christ, no, so sorry to ever mention her, no, you know naman Miss USA, diba? It's a very surprising issue to natabo sa iyahan, no, if you've heard of the news to sa iyahan, no, and she suffered from high functioning depression, which kanaganing magsigira-sigira siya og achieve, and if she doesn't achieve something, if she feels that her life is like meaningless, like there's nakakling ang life to her achievements, 'di ba? Oh my god, nga nag-story ako. Pero that's how millennials are, no, they're very achievement oriented, and very driven, no. Kabalo jud ka ana kay you've seen older people than us na in their 30s, in their late 20s nga grabe jud kayo sila ka-driven. They know a lot of things, no? And they usually like explore a lot. And their work ethic, they value work in so far as it creates results or the acknowledgement or the growth they desire. So they value work if they see that they can grow with it and it has like a result jud. Like dili lang siya nga motrabaho ko kay loyal ko sa akong boss. But no, motrabaho ko because I've seen results, and it is also beneficial to me because I also grow in this work. Okay? So if we can compare traditionalist to Generation Y, very formal kay attar ni traditionalist, very business casual. Ang millennial is whatever they feel nga comfortable sila ha mo na dyan na. Work environment, office only, long hours ang baby boomer, office ang Generation X. Ang Y, pwede ta flexible, no? Even kaning Generation Z, pwede work from home, especially karon na. Ang ako and I've seen that one class akong mga coworkers, like dili jud sila mabuhi nga kanang kuandra kanang sa tawag na dili sila mabuhi nga nara sila sa balay, like office jud na sila kay dili jud sila comfortable sa at home. Okay, so different jud, no, if you're going to read this, I'm not just but if you're going to read this one, no, lahi jud sila siya more on personal life, very tech savvy, very flexible. Same goes with this one, pero sa Generation X is more on, dili siya mag-need og constant feedback. Kay ka-feed siya on feedback class. Si Generation Y, si Millennial, because, acknowledgement really matters to them. Okay, being acknowledged, being credited, na. Kaya si Baby Boomer, which is partly true, no, they cannot handle negative feedback. I have been honest with some baby boomers nga I have met, and they cannot handle criticisms at all. Not all baby boomers are like this, but most of the baby boomers that I meet, no, kay naanad mo gud sila sa information nila na dawat sa una pa or karaan pa. And once they are handed with new information, murag ilang i-reject dayon no, murag na silang system, mag default na sila nga no, di mo na mo akong nadak-an, like dili man na mo akong naandan no. So and even kan imong lang ipiprank ka nga mao ni siya no, they cannot actually at all. Okay, so they're really quite different class. Okay, this one